You ever have those mornings where you walk into the shop, flip the main breaker, and you can just feel the air telling you that something is going to go sideways?
Is this about the 3D printer again? Because I saw you staring at it like it was a misbehaving toddler earlier.
It's worse than a toddler. At least a toddler cries when it makes a mess. My printer just sits there, silent and smug, while it turns $20 of high-speed PETG into a bird's nest that looks like a spaghetti factory exploded in a wind tunnel.
Welcome to the TigerDen podcast, everyone. I'm Alex, and I'm here to make sure Tiger doesn't actually throw his machinery into the scrap bin. Today we are talking 3D printing drama, specifically the Bamboo Lab controversy, moving into the high-stakes world of underwater welding, and how to actually make a buck without losing your soul in the process.
It's a packed house today. And look, I'm being hard on the printer, but this new high-speed PETG is actually a dream when it's dialed in. It used to be that if you wanted something tougher than PLA, you had to deal with ABS smelling like a burning tire fire and warping if someone sneezed in the next room. This new stuff, it's the bridge. It's got the grit to live in a hot truck and the manners to actually stick to the build plate.
Okay, but grit doesn't mean much if the company making the machine is moving the goalposts. People are getting pretty heated about Bamboo Lab and the open source community. For those of us who aren't living in the forums, what's the actual beef?
It's the classic walled garden fight. Bamboo makes a machine that, I hate to admit it, but it works like a microwave. You hit a button and things happen. But they've had some friction lately with Orca Slicer, which is a community-driven fork. It boils down to a philosophical crossroads. Do you want the iPhone of printers where everything is sleek but the gates are locked? Or do you want the old school hot rod where you can swap the engine but you might get grease under your fingernails every Sunday?
I'm guessing you're the grease under the fingernails guy?
I like knowing that if the company vanishes tomorrow, my tools aren't suddenly high-tech paperweights. There's a certain comfort in knowing the community owns the brain of the machine.
Speaking of things that won't vanish, can we talk about the actual heavy lifting? I saw the new AWS Welding journal on your desk. You've been quiet about it, but you're looking at certifications again, aren't you?
Don't tell my knees, they think we're retiring soon. But yeah, the demand for certified welding inspectors, CWI for the folks in the trade, is through the roof right now.
You always say welding is just sewing with lightning, but CWI sounds more like being a judge, jury, and executioner for steel beams.
That's exactly it. You aren't just the person under the hood anymore. You're the person signing off on whether a bridge is going to stay standing or if a pipeline is going to hold. If you're a youngster looking for a golden ticket, the CWI path is it. The math is simple. The more responsibility you can stomach, the bigger the zeros on the paycheck.
I saw underwater welder on the list too. That feels like something out of an action movie. Is that actually a viable career or just a really efficient way to get eaten by a shark?
Well, the sharks are the least of your worries. It's the pressures, physical and mental. It's pure adrenaline. But for most of us, being a high-level shop fabricator is where the soul stays happy. You get to be creative, you stay dry, and you still make a killing if you're precise. The trick, and I cannot stress this enough, is keeping those certs current. I once knew a guy who let his papers lapse by 2 weeks, and he had to go back and retake the entire practical exam like he'd never held a torch in his life.
That sounds like a special kind of hell.
It's a self-inflicted wound, Alex. The renewal is just a bit of paperwork and a check-in. Missing that window is like forgetting your anniversary. There's no sorry big enough to fix it once the date passes.
Let's pivot to the money side of things. We talk to a lot of maker moguls, people trying to quit the 9-to-5 by selling what they build. But the biggest trap I see is people making one-of-a-kind birdhouses and wondering why they're working 80 hours a week for $4 an hour.
It's the artisanal trap. You fall in love with a piece, spend 40 hours on it, and then realize you have to sell it for $2,000 just to cover your rent. Most people aren't buying $2,000 birdhouses.
So what's the move? If I'm a woodworker or a metalworker, how do I stop chasing the one-offs?
You stop selling the cake and start selling the recipe, or better yet, the pan. Look at digital assets. If you design a killer jig that makes a specific task easier, sell the plans for that. You write that file once and it earns its keep while you're sleeping. Or find a boring niche. Don't just make a cutting board. Make the most durable NSF certified butcher block for high-end food trucks. Solve a problem that someone already has a budget for.
Sell the pan. I like that. It's less romantic than being a starving artist, but it pays for the fancy PETG.
Speaking of cutting boards, I've been wrestling with some Chechen wood this week. I thought I'd try some fancy steam bending for a project.
Wait, I saw those curved pieces in the scrap bin this morning. They looked more like shattered hockey sticks than art.
Yeah, well, even masters get humbled. Chechen is dense. It's stubborn. It's basically the wood version of a mule that's decided it's not moving another inch. I tried to rush the steam time. I thought 45 minutes would do it.
And I'm guessing the wood had other plans?
It sounded like a gunshot. Crack. Right through the heart of the grain. The lesson there, which I seem to have to learn every 5 years, is that you can't negotiate with physics. If the moisture content isn't right and the heat hasn't penetrated to the core, that wood is going to win every single time.
So for the folks at home trying to bend the unbendable, what's the secret? Besides patience, which I know is a rare commodity in this shop.
You have to monitor the internal temperature and keep it steaming longer than your gut tells you. If you think it's ready, give it another 20 minutes. Also, look at your shop layout. If you have to trek across 30 feet of cold shop floor to get your piece from the steam box to the form, it's going to cool down and lock up before you even get the first clamp on.
Efficiency, it's not just for factories.
Precisely. I'm actually looking at a total shop reorg right now. The work triangle idea from kitchens, it applies to us too. If my dust collector is 3 miles away from my planer, I'm going to get lazy about turning it on. If my most used chisels aren't within arm's reach of the vise, I'm wasting miles of walking every year.
Miles, you're telling me woodworking is your cardio?
Hey, these boots aren't worn out from standing still.
We've covered a lot of ground today. From the digital brains of 3D printers to the literal under-pressure jobs in welding and the heartbreak of snapping a beautiful piece of Chechen. What's the one thing you want people to take away from the den today?
I think it's the realization that every mistake, whether it's a failed print or a snap board, is just a down payment on your future skills. You can't buy experience at the hardware store. You have to earn it in the shavings and the sparks. Don't be afraid to break things. Just make sure you're paying attention when they do.
And maybe keep your welding certifications up to date so you can afford more wood to break.
Exactly, it's all a cycle.
Thanks for hanging out with us in the den. We want to know which path you're taking this week. Are you hitting the trades, building your mogul empire, or just trying to survive a DIY project without losing a thumb? Drop us a comment and let us know.
Stay safe, keep your blades sharp, and we'll see you at the bench next time.